All right. Today, I'm very excited to have my dear friend Jennifer Urezzio on the interview. Usually we do it on the phone, so this time I'm using Google Hangout. I'm very excited to use it for the first time. So thank you for being with us, Jennifer. It's such a great pleasure and honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much, and I'm so honored that you called me your friend, so thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, before we get right into the interview, I want to say a few things about you. You're specialized in helping people connect to themselves, to each other, and to the divine. You founded a new paradigm, it's called Soul Language, which provides guidance for understanding our true nature and tools for accessing deeper levels of awareness. This new insight into how the soul expresses itself is being embraced by top healers, lifestyle coaches, including me, I love it, and CEOs all over the world as a method for helping people recognize their purpose and live from a place of power and truth. And before we continue, I also want to mention you can learn more about Jennifer on her website, through her website. It's www.soullanguage.us. Or you can also get her new book. She just recently published her first book. Is it your first one?
Yeah, it's my first full book by myself, yeah.
Your first book, you can find that under www.soullanguage.us/the-book/. So thank you for being with us, Jennifer.
Thank you. It's an honor, and I'm so excited to spend some time with you. You know how much I adore you, and I'm just so excited that I get to talk about connection and how we can connect better. So thank you.
Thank you. And that actually brings us right to our first question. What is soul language? What does it mean?
So several years ago, I know my life purpose. It's called Powerful Healer and Teacher of Service in the Spotlight. And I was like, okay, what do I do with that? How do I connect? How do I be happy? Where are my people? I feel lonely and unsupported. And I went to this event where this woman sat next to me and went, we're going to be friends. And I went, that's so true. Why her? And not this other woman across the way that looks nice, but I don't care if I ever see her again. And what I heard through divine guidance was soul language. And after spending a lot of time asking questions and receiving answers, what soul language is it puts words, not to put us in a box, but just so we can connect better to the energies of our soul. And so when you know and have words for that, you can create this deep connection. You understand when you're utilizing all of that talent and all of that soulful energy for sustainability or for shadow. And we each speak 3 languages or 3 expressions in 3 different categories. Your mission, how you feel that mission, and then your soulful personality. And there's a total of 107 different languages across the 3 different categories.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I remember you saying that. Yes, I remember. So that's a lot actually to work with. So why is it so important to connect with your soul?
Your soul kind of knows that thing that's in your greatest good. It has your greatest good in mind. It's always going to steer you down the right direction. And we're hearing our soulful information all the time. But normally what happens is it goes through the layers of ego. So it's misinterpreted. And so when you spend time in sacred connection, when you spend time really listening and asking questions and being in conscious choice, what that allows you to do is it allows you to work with all of the powers of the universe and your soul to create a life based on truth, that you're whole and complete, rather than based on the lies that or the separation techniques of lack and not enough and fear and doubt. And I think that's why it's so important. I mean, when I listen to my soul, it prevents so much struggle. And here's just this very simple thing that I didn't listen to, but it's a very simple thing. So one of my clients was sending me a beautiful necklace that she made personally, not this one, but a beautiful one with a bird on it, I was so excited. And I kept hearing, tell her to use a UPS, tell her to get a tracking code. And I went, no, no, no. Tell her to get a tracking code. No, I don't want to bother her. So, she's like, it will be there Saturday. Saturday comes, Monday comes, Tuesday comes. And we're on the phone. I was like, I was really listening. My soul was telling me, get a tracking number, and I kept vetoing it. And she goes, that's really funny. Because at the post office, she said, I felt the same thing, like, get a tracking number, and I vetoed it. And so I'm like, see, we both learned this great lesson to really listen to our soul. So the next day after this conversation, the package shows up, and it's beautiful. And I open it up, I put it on, and I'm getting ready to throw the package on it. And then there's a little tracking code on the package. And I call her up, and I go, see, the universe had our back anyway. So when you listen to your soul, it makes the tiniest things and the biggest things just go more smoothly. It allows you to kind of step in the flow instead of walking in a snowstorm.
Yeah, I agree. And I totally made that experience after working with you. Right after I got pregnant, I was totally out. And working with you, it just changed my everything, my whole life around. It changed my business and how I operate and how it now comes to me. Like, and now I'm able to really step into the intuition that I already had before. I just couldn't really work with it. I didn't know what to do with it. So that's really powerful. Yeah, for me it was a life changer. I can really attest to that. What resistance do you think people have to connect with their soul?
Well, first of all, thank you for those sweet words. I mean, we people that are of big service, we occasionally forget to acknowledge our service, so thank you. I think people don't listen to their soul because they're afraid of what their soul is going to say. I think most of us have this misbelief that we suck. And I think that if we listen to our soul, we're going to have that moment where you're going to think, oh, my soul is going to tell me I'm not good enough, or I'm blah, blah, blah. Another reason I think that people don't really listen is because they're afraid of what their soul is going to say. Meaning, here's a big one that I hear from renegades all the time. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be in the spotlight. My soul keeps telling me to be in the spotlight, and I don't want to be on camera. And I'm like, okay, so have you defined what spotlight means to your soul? Have you asked the next question? The soul will give you that huge picture. And our human brain goes, oh my God, I can't do that. They forget that it's a question and answer thing, and you can go, okay, you know what? I can't do that step.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first tiny step? So those are a couple reasons. And I also think that most of the time when people are listening to their soul, they go through, oh my God, how am I know I'm not making it up? And
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm crazy. And my point for the making up question is, who cares? If you're making it up, it's coming through divine inspiration anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
And after a while, when people are really listening to their soul, they really do know the difference between the way ego sounds and the way soul sounds. So soul, for me, is really like a one-liner, where ego tends to be that loop, right? And soul always sounds a little different than my mind chatting with itself. And the more that you practice that connection, the more you fine line it, and the more that you trust. And another thing is because people go, I listen to my soul, and bad things happen, and I can't trust myself. I think that they were thinking they were listening to their soul, right?
Right.
And they overrode it. And a perfect example of that is relationships, right? Well, I really felt solely connected to him. Sure you did, Jen. And you kept seeing all the little red flags that you discounted because you felt some sort of energetic connection with him. Well, meanwhile, what your soul was really doing was going, get out as fast as you can, right?
Right.
So there's all of that stuff. And when we work on a soul level, we ask the divine, God, universe, tree, Bob, I don't care what you call it, to do the heavy lifting for us. So it's nothing like anything I've ever experienced, because things that you've been suffering with for years can be dissolved in 15 seconds because you let go of making them right, or you being wrong, or you just come into alignment, you come into the truth, and everything just seems to fade away.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's so perfect because I just made that experience. Going from having a successful client-based business to going bigger was for me like when I started working with you because I didn't know, like I felt at the wrong place. And even now, I'm still in the process of recreating it and getting the foundation set up. But it's so hard. Sometimes like I feel like really I connected on such a deep level, and I know I'm supposed to do that. But I need to see something here now. I need to see something happening, or I'm just going to go back to working with my one-on-one clients because that worked really, really well. But it's sometimes hard because it's outside of our comfort zone, and it's a learning track. When we really in tune with our soul, it's not like, oh, it's going to happen right away. Not always. Sometimes it's a learning curve, and we need to acknowledge that and still listen and not doubting, okay, maybe I was just crazy. But when you said how to picture your soul, for me, what I just recently discovered with my coach, how I picture my three soul languages is like the adults in my life.
Oh, I love that.
Because my survival mechanism is that little girl that's always trying to hold me back. I'm like, no, 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 don't go. I need you. You can't just go and leave me here. But then there are those three adults that have like a very calming and soothing aura around them. Like, you're fine. You're okay. We have you. We have your back. And that's how I experience it. So that's really awesome that you
Oh
said
my
that.
God, I love that. And you know, there's a part of everyone gets a language definition when they have their languages identified. And there's a section that says, you know, if a child has this language to foster blah 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 in this child. And a pioneer, which is a mission language, said to me, "Oh, I use that little guide there to talk to my own child." And I went, "Of course you do, because that's so pioneering." And I would have never thought to do it that way.
Yeah.
But there's so much, you know, what's so amazing about soul language is this, there's so much depth to it because there's so much depth to your soul. And so the language definitions are always a jumping ground. And then you get to kind of really go deeper and go in the next layer. And it's all about an evolutionary process. And I want to go back to something you said about, you know, learning curve. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's so much that's happening in ways that we can see and ways that we can't see. And
Yeah.
often we get discouraged because we're not getting, or what we want to see isn't happening. And when people feel that, I always say, okay, take a deep breath and like let's go back to your truth because you're on the cusp. You're on the breaking point. And to start acknowledging all of those, and I've done it, all of those little ways that amazing things occur. And here's a perfect example. A couple of months ago, I was like, I'm not getting on word. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just, 15-minute pity party. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go in the truth. I'm going to feel my truth. I'm going to listen to my soul. And I was like, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to close it down. And I got a call from a friend of mine, and she goes, I talked to 3 different people today who mentioned you to me. They didn't know we were connected and told me I had to talk to you. So I'm like, wow. So there's all this stuff happening for you that you're not aware of. But just because you're not aware of doesn't mean that you're not being supported. And sometimes the universe takes a little time to put together what you want, right? It's easier for them to get you a cup of coffee because, well, coffee's been invented. But it might take them a little longer to put new clients in place or a speaking gig in place or something. The key is not to lose heart. The key is not to doubt, or when you doubt, pause and move back into your truth. Because the doubt is causing separation, and that causes struggle, and we know blah, blah, blah.
Yes, I agree. So how, actually, since we already mentioned it now, how does that work, or how can the soul language be in support of for an entrepreneur who creates their business? I mean, I can totally come from my own example and yours as well, but I would love to hear that from you. Like, how does it really support, especially entrepreneurs?
Well, several ways. First of all, most entrepreneurs think that they are their business. And I'm going to tell you right now that you are not. You call in an energy for a business to do something bigger first for yourself and then for others. And people usually forget themselves. And it's very rare that someone has in common the same soul languages of their personal soul as their energy of their business, which we can identify.
Mm.
So on a personal level, even if you don't know the business languages, so to speak, you can take all of those words, the one-liner of your soul, so to speak, and use that in all your marketing. So, my one-liner of my soul languages is I help create balance for myself, because it all starts at home, and for others through integrity and courage. That's what I do. So I can stand up at a networking event and go, okay, so this is what I do. And I can use those in my marketing. I can also use those to say, where am I out of balance in this area of my business? Or where am I lacking courage? Or where am I off integrity? So you can spend the rest of your business life connecting to your soul and understanding it through your personal languages. On the business side, you can also understand, the business languages of soul language are drastically different than my personal languages.
Mm-hmm.
They're more loving, they're more still-oriented, they're more collaborative, right? I've got warrior nature. I don't care if I see a person all day long. But the business is about collaboration. It's about receiving. If I'm not working with that energy, I'm not utilizing it to its greatest good, I'm like not utilizing like a huge chunk of power in the business. So I personally think that entrepreneurs need all the tools that they can get, right?
Right.
They're innovative, they're, renegades, they're ready to, they're putting their hearts on the line. And doing all of that, there's a lot of fear that comes up, there's a lot of personal stuff that comes up, and there's a lot of attachment. So understanding your personal soul and understanding the business soul languages allows you to kind of step back and be more of an observer, more of a without attachment. Really create a foundation for yourself so God's got this, in my verbiage, because that's what I call my higher power.
Mine
so,
too.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm sure everyone who is going to watch it answers their questions. For me, literally, it was the same thing. When you talked about marketing, for me, it was when I started to create the dare to stand out, standing in your own power, in your inner power. That was my mission. That when I worked with you, we created. And knowing that my soul languages are motivator, observer, and conductor, and I know that I'm always struggle with the conductor. Like I make up stories like, oh my gosh, they don't see me as professional. Don't they see the authority in me? Blah, blah, blah. It comes up, and I know, okay, I'm just reflecting something. I am not in my inner power, and that's what they experience with me. So if I am not in my inner power, if I'm not using the conductor, the leader in me, other people pick up on that, and I realized that. So it absolutely helped me create the whole program. It helped me to work with the people that I love to work with. So I totally can see that, especially for entrepreneurs, when you work for yourself and you kind of have everything that you do. Like, nobody tells you what you need to do, right? Nobody gives you a schedule in the morning.
Wow.
Okay, here, that's what you need to do.
No,
But,
and
yeah.
the conductor part of you is so amazing because, you actually provide this space of highlighting the best out of every individual in that community. And you can, because I always see it as a conductor, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can bring out the best song in everyone that you come in contact with. And that's what I would want on my team, right? And so the more that you step in that for yourself, the more that's just going to overflow to your community. And I think that's what happens when we work together. I mean, you were powerful when I met you. You've embraced and accepted that power, and you're just allowing it to expand. And you can tell, like, in everything you do. Plus, you have that amazing baby, which is, as you were going through that fertile thing, that's like one big creative energy source.
Oh, yeah.
And, and so it's really about what soul language does is I hear this time and time again, oh my God, you just gave me words to what I know deep down inside. And oh my God, wait, I can accept that? That's not a bad part? Because I've been told that's wrong all my life. No, that's like your greatest gift. And there's this kind of settling and this, oh my God, I can be profoundly loved because I love and accept myself now.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's like for me, and I know people usually love to have that personal connection and understand, okay, how did that work for someone else? How can I see that instead of just seeing the or hearing about the theory? For me, it really was once I worked with you, I understood my marketing about my business, and that's when everything created. Like the website pretty much created itself. The program, I just recently went through it myself through my own program
Love
and
it.
redid it. But I went through it and I look, I'm like, who the heck wrote that? Because I know when I created it, I was like deeply connected to my soul, and I just wrote whatever I felt was on my heart and on my mind. And now I'm reading, I'm like, did I copy that from somewhere? I know I didn't read any books about that before. And so it's really interesting how it works and how it supports you. And one thing that really became clear for me with the soul languages, my business languages are really different. They're negotiator, monk, and escalator. So they're different to the motivator, observer, and conductor.
They're very different, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But I realized I was working against myself business-wise. I was absolutely working in a way that just did not serve who I was. And that created my business in that sense.
Yeah, and as that negotiator, once you kind of tap into that energy, it's another way to utilize your marketing because who wouldn't want someone to help them create a new deal for themselves?
Yep.
Like, lay it on the table, like, yes. And the problem about marketing, and I was in marketing for 17 years and PR in 17 years, and the problem with that is that especially renegades, which of course you are one, they try to do it like someone else tells you to do it. And it's always going to fail because it's not coming from your own voice.
Yep.
And you're never going to fit the pattern. You're never going to be put in that box. You're never going to be Swiss cheese where you just drop in your own name and send it out. And so when you really listen, again, it just flows. I mean, somebody emailed me the other day and said, remember when you told me that you really saw me on the West Coast and I'm thinking about moving? And I was like, okay, no, but okay. Thanks for the compliment. Like, I don't remember half the stuff that comes out of my mouth or that I write because I am connected. And I'm in using both my personal soul and the energy of the business, which again, totally different energy. So yeah, it's one of the things that I think, especially spirit-based entrepreneurs, forget about. They forget about their own connection. And I love that you did your program because I live and breathe soul language, and sometimes I don't reread my definitions. When I was writing the book and I had to edit the definitions, I was like, oh, crap, I'm in the unconscious use of the equalizer. Like, how'd that happen? Like, because we forget because we're so in it. And I tell clients all the time, yeah, are you doing the part of your program aren't you doing? And they'll be like, oh, I hate to do this part. I'm like, yeah, let's start doing that part because that's where the gold is.
Yeah.
That's where your resistance is. So again, you're such an amazing motivating force because your motivations are in alignment with who you are because you're actually motivating yourself. Love that.
And I have to. I have to, especially when you get 4 hours of sleep at night. Yes, no, I honestly, seriously, working with you made a tremendous change in my business, and often I forget to really step into my soul language and to acknowledge that and understand it, and I realize that's when I get frustrated, or I'm like, okay, I'm just ready to give up on that. Maybe I just should do something different. But what you said, half the time I don't even remember what I say. I worked with over 30 people just the last 3 months. And
Wow.
it was very interesting for me to see that I have a prophetic skill or gift,
That's the observer.
right? Yes, and sometimes I just said things. I'm like, I don't know how that just came to me, or I'm just gonna say it, and I don't remember honestly. Sometimes, and it might sound bad, but not everyone I do remember that I talked to them because it's really just unconsciously that I knew what was going on with them. I can see it, like I can see their lives in front of me, and okay, this is. I'm like, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know. This just came up It's just the energy that you bring out, that you send out to me, and I can pick it up. And ever since working with you, I'm able to really acknowledge that and step into it, because I remember as a child, I was always telling my parents, I feel like I can leave my body and just watch people. And I know you explained that to me. When you don't know about it, you do that, and it takes energy away from you instead of waiting and having things come to you.
Yeah, it takes energy, and then you use it as a, oh my God, I'm in pain, let me leave my body, and then it's hard to manifest.
Yeah.
And observers are really fascinating. What I noticed is that the next level of transformational people have the observer language either in their personal soul or their business soul, or there's an expertise in observers. I collect them. I adore them. So I get them. And so, of course, because to transcend, it takes that observation without, being attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing. And for the people that are watching this, tap into it with Isabel. Help, allow her to kind of display that gift for you, and help you answer your questions through that question and answer period, because it's astounding. When I talk to an observer, I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. I was like, wait, I got to write that down, because I know I caught something in the observer energy, and I know that that's really important, and that's the next step. So it's really just, it's an amazing gift. I
It's
have also
powerful, yeah. No, it absolutely, I agree. For me, it's I think it's the most powerful language that I have, besides the conductor that I try to avoid every now and then. I don't know why, but yeah, but it's interesting when I do realize it, and like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not stepping into being the conductor and then really stepping into my power. It's the same. I realize once I connect with my soul and really sit here and say, divine intelligence or God, connect me to my soul languages, and I can feel it. Like I can feel the different energy on different body parts. Like the observer, I feel on my forehead. The motivator on my in my hands, like I can feel that energy. So it's really interesting. And the whole time I heard over the last couple months, write a book, write a book. I'm like, I'm not ready to write a book yet. And then it came like, just write an ebook people can download to get access to what you actually do, to the program. I wrote it within 2 days, 8,000 words in 2 days, and not even like 24/7 or 24/2. It was just 3 hours a day.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible, and I think that's another additive of what you do, because you can help provide the platform for people and the structure to help tap into their natural abilities to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a huge gift, when people start utilizing their voice in an expression that fits, a delivery system that fits, things kind of just flow. I remember a couple months ago, I was in the shower, and I heard, create a Facebook group for spiritual renegades, and I went, oh, do I have to? I hate Facebook groups, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a real, like, come on, like, put on your big girl pants. And I did it. And the chatter that is going on in there, the wisdom that is going on in there is striking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I thought, oh, okay, so how fun is this? And and I remember throughout my lifetime just listening to that soul, and just amazing blooming celebrations, huge expansion, huge growth happens. And people are always looking for that golden ticket moment, from Willy Wonka, where you get your golden ticket and then the surprise comes. And I think that the journey is a series of little golden tickets, and it's about really listening. And that leads to that kind of overall baseline of, hey, I love my life. Let's, it's a party. It's work. It's a journey, but I wouldn't change it for anyone else's life.
And that's where the soul languages really helped me to understand no longer working towards my dream, but actually living it already working towards a specific goal, but my dream is already here. It's already within me. God put it there and he won't take it. It's already happened. Like, I just have to acknowledge it. It's already there. No matter what I'm finding myself in what situation, that is part of my dream. I'm living it. But the more we try to chase after it, the more we're missing out because we tell ourselves we don't have it yet.
Yeah, you know, I was told once that before the idea can hit your lips, before it can be expressed, everything has already been created for that dream. And you
Yep.
just get to manifest it and bring it into solid form. And when I heard that, I went, whew, wow, okay, I can take a lot of pressure off. And knowing your soul languages and knowing the business languages help with the internal and the external action. You know, I think when people move into fear, they move into doing. I got to do something. I got to make something happen. And for me, that has always caused more struggle, and it never really got me anywhere, even though I thought it was. And now it's an internal action and then an external action. And what do I get to let go of? Or what do I get to accept? Or what do I want to experience? And then what's the next divinely inspired action? And really understanding soul languages and my own really helped me to develop that. I mean, it was really giving me a structure to profoundly listen. And then I get to play with all the other energies, which is really cool.
Right. And I mean, you have a total advantage. Like, I'm not in it for that long as you are. So I'm still practicing. It's always, every single day I have to remind myself because sometimes I forget and then I realize how I get frustrated, overwhelmed, things don't work out, like last night, where I just want to quit everything. But that's when I realized I was out. I was not standing in my power. I was not listening to my soul languages. So it's really amazing as entrepreneur how much, if you don't have that physical support team, you have that inner support team with knowing your soul languages. And there's nothing like, I know I work with a lot of people that where faith is very important to them. Okay, now they have to mow the lawn right in front of my window.
Yay!
Always. But it is not disconnected to your faith. Like, it's actually part of that. The Holy Spirit speaks through your soul, and if we learn to listen to it, to separate that from your mind, it's a practice. You have to practice that because you can misunderstand it a lot of times where your wishful thinking gets in the way of your actual, like what your soul actually is telling you. But it's just the Holy Spirit. Where we're asking today, like, is God even still speaking to us? He still is. It's just louder outside. There's more noise. There's more that we have to go through to actually hear it. And that's why I just love your work. I just love, like, I'm so glad I can't even remember how I found you.
I don't either, but I want to thank that person right now. And, you know, thank you. It's an honor because I know how amazing you are, and it's really about creating that structure of tapping in and the sacred practice, and I hear time and time again from faith-based entrepreneurs and renegades, I'm like, oh, are you doing your sacred practice? Well, no. Okay, so how do you expect to consciously make choices if you're not consciously connecting? And it's not, there's no judgment in my voice, there's pain and suffering because I know when I don't, wow, I feel like crap. And I also know that when I don't, it's because I'm resentful or I'm angry at God. And I can be angry at God because I'm blaming God for something that I really created. You know, and so it allows time kind of to take all of that metaphysical mumbo jumbo and give you a structure where you can utilize it and adapt it and really make it your own.
Right. It's beautiful. Again, you do beautiful work. One last question, or we're almost at the end. What are some tools you can share with us that people can start using right here, right now to transform their life?
Oh, you know, I love that question. So the one where I like to everyone to start off is just noticing today where you're judging. What you're judging, who you're judging, how it comes up, You don't actually have to do anything yet. Then tomorrow, when you notice that you're judging, you're going to pause and you're going to close your eyes and you're going to repeat, divine intelligence, fill me with the knowing that I am safe and provided for. And that is going to create either a level of peace or calmness or almost like a clean slate feeling. Because the more you judge, the more you're putting yourself in lack and disconnection. And so just by doing that one tool every day, you're going to feel more whole and complete and create experiences that are whole and complete. And those things that aren't whole and complete in you are going to rise to the top, and you get to let them go.
I love that because I was just looking at my wall and it says, Divine Intelligence, fill me up with safety.
It's a good one. People, I think that's the number one fear. All fears come down to I won't be safe. Something will happen. I'll disappear. I'll die. And so when you kind of activate safety in the body, it creates a new foundation for you. So you're basing your life on knowing that you're safe rather than all of this programming that you were taught, that mass consciousness, that kind of go through our environment every day.
Yes. And it's actually interesting because just last Tuesday I worked with my coach, and my son was starting to cry during the session, and he was just really out. And I picked him up and I just calmed him down, and my coach said, the way you just calmed your child and make him safe, how can you make yourself feel safe? Because he realized I was not feeling safe in the things that I created. And as entrepreneur, that's not a rare occasion, right? I mean, that comes up a lot where we question what we do. Is it right? The financial pressure where we don't feel safe, all of that. But if we can let go of it, it all just comes. I always realize that every single day, every time I step into it and I acknowledge my soul languages, it just comes. It's like, I don't know if you ever heard of Dream Year Pitch Night. And I get to pitch. I get to pitch on the 12th. I didn't even think that I could get in because what would I even pitch? I don't really have like a product what people usually pitch about. And after I recreated my website and had someone hired and stuff like that, they actually contacted me like, hey, we know it's a little bit short notice, but we want you to pitch.
Love it. Congratulations.
And it's just really interesting now. I have to figure something out. But it's great how God really works when we are stepping into who we really are, and understanding when we work with ourselves and not against ourselves, everything else will fall into place. There's an alignment happening.
Yeah, my favorite story is, I'm on the beach, and my friend, he's 9 now, but he was like 7 at the time, and I'm fighting with the beach chair, and he's like, Aunt Jennifer Urezzio, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm fighting with myself, and he goes, who's winning? And I went, oh, no one's winning. And so the second tool is just to notice when you're fighting with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Just pause, and invite that conscious, divine love into your system. And we hear a lot about letting go and surrendering. And there's a lot of friction with that for renegades and for people. And the image that I have for that is just handing over, really surrendering my worry to the divine, surrendering my fear. And I actually, because I'm visual, I actually see myself just handing the divine a big basket of worry, and then the divine's got it. I don't have to focus on it anymore. I can do something else.
Right.
And, another great tool is to go, okay, if I wasn't worried about this, or I wasn't afraid about this, what would I be using that energy to do or to be?
Yep.
You can go and do it or be it.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean that it's always easy, because our higher purpose, what our calling, what we're supposed to do, that is supposed to serve a greater good, is always outside of our comfort zone. It's never within our comfort zone that we created, because we created our comfort zone. It's not something where God said, oh, I'm going to create a comfort zone for you. He's like, yeah, no, wait a minute. I want you to trust me, so I will take you outside of your comfort zone. And just having that understanding, like what I said. I see my soul language as adults
Beautiful.
instead of children, and having that, it makes me feel safe, because often as adults we don't have anyone that really makes us feel safe anymore. We're
Yeah.
out there in that world. Well, our parents are okay. I mean, they still kind of are our parents, but it's not the same relationship anymore as we had when we were kids, where they really made us feel safe. Like everything, every time something happened, we could go to them and they would bail us out. Right now, it's like, well, yeah, you're an adult now, figure it out yourself. So there's not really that safe place anymore. But with our soul language, we can create that safe place, and no matter what's happening around us, we determine our mindset.
Yeah.
And that's what comes with the soul language. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. An honor, really, truly an honor.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing all your wisdom and your knowledge. It's just great. I always love talking to you. It's been like, yeah, we talked a couple of times now over the last couple of months, and it's just always, every time I hang up or close an email, I'm like, yep, I just forgot to think about my soul language is good.
Well, I'm honored and I'm grateful for you, so thank you. And thank you for what you're doing in the world. I'm honored, so thank you.
You do. I mean, I know everyone who's gonna listen to it, they will get something from it. And I know, actually, I want to mention, you have a special offer too, don't you?
Yeah, I do a discovery session for everyone, and you'll learn one of your soul languages. And so during that, we'll identify one of your three, and we'll do some transformational work. And so you'll have a tool to use right away.
Hmm.
And then with the program, if you give me your permission, I'll share that with your amazing coach, and she can also help you during your program really keep accountable about utilizing your soul consciously as well.
Yes. And that especially goes with those that I am able to coach through the program. Those who do the home study, you can totally take advantage of that as well, but you just have to write it down on your wall to remember. But if you're part of the premium program, totally, people need to let me know so I can hold them accountable, and I can have that in that little corner, knowing, oh yeah, those are your soul languages. What are you doing with it? Are you working within your soul language or against it? And so thank you so much for this very generous offer. I know that's how I started out with you, and I totally came back. I was like, no, I want to have the other soul languages too, and my business languages, of course.
Thank you.
So
It's an honor.
thank you so much, and for being on this, I wanted to say call, but video interview. So thank you so much again, and if anyone wants to contact you personally, they can go to your website, correct?
Yes, soullanguage.us.
.us. .us. Remember, .us,
.us.
not .com. Thank you so much again, and I am sure I will talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you. It's nice talking to you.
Bye.